Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new episode of NASCAR Heat 3 Career Mode. Today we will be going to Darlington for Hailie Deegan in the Xfinity Series and myself in the Cup Series. I forgot to record Hailie Deegan's efforts in Road America, so you're not going to see that, but we're going to go straight to Darlington. And she started in the 5th qualifying position, so a very good qualifying effort from Hailie for Darlington in this throwback race for the Xfinity Series and for the Cup Series, obviously being the major throwback as we now come down as she would move up into P4 on the back straightaway, going into turn 3, trying to take third away from Tyler Reddick in the number 9 JRM Chevrolet as she came through turns 3 and 4. She would pull ahead of Tyler Reddick, but as we came to about the midway point in this race, she would drift back a little bit down to just hanging on to a top 5 position as Cole Custer was driving away with the lead just in front of the 2 of, I believe that's Matt Tiff now, as Hailie Deegan got in the wall there. But by the time it came to the white flag, half a lap to go, she's battling on the inside of the number 1 of Elliott Sadler, trying to get 6 through turns 3 and 4. Cole Custer, he's going to come through to hang on to win in Darlington, and Hailie Deegan would exit turn 4 down the front straightaway to hang on for a 6th place finish. So certainly a very good effort for Hailie Deegan and this team, so I was very happy with that. And really we're just trying to get as many playoff points as we can now, so we didn't get any in this race, unfortunately, but still nothing to be really disappointed about with Hailie in that performance in Darlington. And obviously, as we shift focus over to Darlington in the Cup Series last season, my rookie season, we won here on fuel strategy. Late in Darlington, we were able to outsmart the competition and hang on to the victory. So we're hoping to have another strong run, obviously, here in the throwback race now as we come into qualifying. I made it to the 3rd session, which is obviously the final session. So we certainly had some speed in this car as we came through turns 3 and 4, having to get out of the throttle a bit on the exit of the corner, certainly slowing up my lap just a little bit as we came across the line to hit a 29.572. We will start 7th for this throwback race here in Darlington.
Tonight, the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series returns to Darlington Raceway for the running of the Bojangles Southern 500. This unique egg-shaped oval, also known as the Track Too Tough to Tame, has had a long history of tormenting drivers. However, more recently, a new tradition has taken root here. Darlington has become the home of the official NASCAR Throwback Weekend. So join us as we celebrate 7 decades of NASCAR and take a fun trip back through time. Let's do some old school racing.
All right, we are ready to go green in Darlington. Clint Boyer is on the pole. Casey Kane didn't have a good practice session. This team apparently knows that they can do better, and that's the only notes going into this race. No one sent to the back as we get ready to start from P7 here in Darlington with Boyer and Kurt Busch on the front row. The green flag is out. We are underway in this unique throwback event now as we come across the line to start this first lap. A little bit of a longer race, one of the longer races, obviously, of the season now as we go down into turns 1. Just 2 races left in the regular season. After Darlington, there will be 1 left as Chase Elliott, Eric Jones try to hang on to the last 2 spots in this playoff grid as Ryan Blaney is about to be in a situation where he will have to win his way in now as we come down into turns 3 and 4. Brad Keselowski moves up to the lead here on this first lap, so Boyer's not even going to hang on to lead his first lap of the race after starting on the pole. We make a little bit of contact with the 18 of Kyle Busch as we came out of turn 4, but we came across the line sitting in P7 still, just where I started as we battle on the inside of Kyle Busch through turns 1 and 2 behind Eric Almirola in the 10 car, who doesn't seem to have a lot of speed early on in this race as the cars on the outside were able to pass him by the time we came to about halfway through laps 3. You see he checks up on the exit of turn 2 to stay out of the 18, and that allows me to get clear of Almirola on that outside line and slide down in front of him to take the 6th position away from Eric Almirola as we come through turns 3 and 4 now behind the 18 and the 41, the Busch brothers, who battle side by side as we come across the line. And I briefly tried to follow the 18 of Kyle Busch, but as soon as we got to turn 1, I backed out of the side-by-side with Kurt and checked in behind him through the center of the corner now with a chance to maybe look to his inside, but I got a little bit loose through the center of the corner, not allowing me to build up the momentum I wanted to as we come down the back straightaway, heading down into turns 3 and 4. Busch, he's going to leave the inside open, so obviously I take advantage of that and fill that hole that he leaves open as we make a little bit of contact coming out of turn 4, getting a little bit sideways, but we hang on to the car and come through to take the 5th position away from Kurt Busch. So we move up 2 positions in the first 5 laps to get into the top 5, as Keselowski at this point is just driving away with the lead, certainly looking like he's going to be the favorite, maybe again after winning last episode in Bristol. And by the time we came to the midway point in the stage, still running in that 5th spot, but we are certainly not as fast as these guys in front of me, as we're starting to get really loose through these corners. As you see, Keselowski, they are all way ahead. Kyle Busch is the closest car, and he's about a second and a half ahead of me as we head down into turn 3, as he battles it out with, I believe, Kevin Harvick up ahead through turns 3 and 4 as we exit the corner to hit 10 laps to go in this first stage. Certainly looking like we have at least maybe a top 5 car at this point, so I was certainly confident still with what we had. And maybe if we play our cards right, just like we did last season, we could find a way to the front of the pack and maybe have a chance to win the race here late as we are approaching the final points of this first stage. By the time we came to lap 18, we started to get into lap traffic. We caught Kyle Busch and Clint Bowyer as they're stuck behind these lap cars, but Joey Logano, he also caught me as we look to the inside of Kyle Busch and Bowyer making a 3-wide move as they were pretty slow, and that allows me to get past them all, and we moved up to P3 as we get onto the apron going into turns 1, but we hang on to the car and keep it straight and keep going forwards. And Kyle Busch would end up following through on that inside line. Now as we came to the last couple laps of stage 1, you see Kyle Busch, he did run me back down, and he actually was able to get to my inside with a very ambitious move. He went down onto the apron to actually pass me, which if I would have made a move like that, I would have been spinning. But for the AI, they can do that whatever they want. They can go down to the apron and make passes, and it works for them. As we hit 2 to go in this first stage, though, trying to hold off Eric Jones for 4th as he is trying to keep himself in the playoffs. He certainly looks like, with the way he's running right now, that he's going to solidify his position in the playoff grid as we head down into turn 3. Kyle Busch approaches AJ Allmendinger as we go through turns 3 as we come out of now turns 4, trying to run down that 18 of Kyle Busch as we come to the white flag in this first stage. Coming up to the 18 now as we look to his outside as we go into turns 1, then I hit the brakes to check up behind me as we now look to his left rear, but not able to get to his inside now as we're all over his back bumper as we exit turn 2, giving him a shove down the straightaway as we try to get him ahead of the 15 of Ross Chastain as we head down into turn 3 for the final time in stage 1. Eric Jones looks to my outside, but he's going to get held up by Chastain as we're going to come through turns 3 and 4 for the final time in stage 1. Kyle Busch will hang on to the 3rd spot, and we will come through to get P4 in stage 1. So a very strong effort to start this race in Darlington as Kevin Harvick actually ran down Keselowski and passed him to win the first stage here in Darlington. And it was pretty obvious that we would have to take 2 cans of fuel and 4 tires on this pit stop, so that's exactly what we would come in to do, as well as do very slight repairs to the car, which really weren't needed, but we did it anyways just for the visual aspect. Now as we get ready to start the second stage, starting on the outside line, now as we get ready to go green, the green flag is out, and we are underway in the second stage. Harvick and Keselowski on your front row as they lead us down towards turn 1 as we try to push the 2 ahead of the 4 of Keselowski as we now come through the center of the corner. Kyle Busch on my inside, obviously. Eric Jones now looking to my inside as we come through the center of the corner. As we exit turn 2, we're barely hitting the wall, and that certainly slows up my momentum as I just tagged the wall with my right rear, and then it pulled me in to the wall on the exit of the corner, as well as we would fall down to the 8th spot from 4th on this restart. But we were able to look to the inside of our teammate Kyle Larson as he is still looking for his first win on the season as we come across the line, trying to pull ahead of him as we hit lap 2 in the second stage. We go into turns 1, clearing Larson now to move back into the 7th position. And now as we come through turns 1 and 2, getting very loose on the exit of the corner, we hit the wall pretty good that time, as that does significant damage. Not significant, but it does a decent amount of damage to the right front, now costing me even more spots as Almirola drifts up the track, as now we're going to force a 3 wide in the middle with him and his Stewart-Haas Racing teammate Kurt Busch as we go 3 wide down the front straightaway, and we need to get out of this situation quick as we try to clear the 41. As we go into turn 1, he tags me in the left rear and up the track. We go into the wall once again, and the 41 goes sideways, but he hangs on to the car, and everybody keeps it straight, and it stays green as things are starting to get eventful here in Darlington now as we hang on to the car, fortunately, down the back straightaway and keep it going as we head down into turns 3. And certainly our race went from being a very solid start in stage 1 to a complete disaster this is starting to turn into here in this second stage as we battle alongside. We certainly have a good amount of damage to the right side of the car now as we make a little bit of contact again with Kurt Busch, but we certainly still have speed as we are just running running into issues after issues at this time as we cleared Kurt Busch just about, but he tagged me in the left rear going into turn 1, and that obviously costed us a lot of ground and certainly added some damage to the car. But through turn 3 we would be fortunate enough to clear him and work our way up to P12 now as we run down the 12 car of Ryan Blaney as we look to make a move to his inside on the exit of turn 4. Now across the line to hit 18 to go in stage 2 as we have a spinner. Up ahead is Brad Keselowski. He comes up the track and we have a huge crash near and now down in turn 1 as we are involved as I had nowhere to go. And I cannot believe what had just happened. We were fortunate. We escaped that with very little damage because we hit him with the right front of the car. So we got really lucky, but that was insane. He was on the bottom of the track wrecking, and then he just yeets it back up the track in front of my path. As you see a replay on the screen, he just comes up and just destroys myself, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson's involved, many other cars are involved, as that is a huge incident, as one of the most bizarre incidents I've been a part of or even seen in this game, at least in career mode. So a huge setback for our team now as we get ready to restart here in stage 2. Keselowski's still in the race. I'm going to assume he blew a tire or something when he went down into turn 1. Obviously we never saw what happened to him, but either way that was pretty crazy. But that doesn't change the fact that we have a task to focus on, and that task is to work our way back towards the top 10 in this race. Certainly, this second stage has been very, very eventful or dramatic, as we have been kind of a part of 3 incidents. One was just me hitting the wall a little bit. The second one, we obviously had the incident with Kurt Busch and Almirola, and obviously the big one most recently a couple laps back with Keselowski now and many other cars now as we go down into turns 1, working our way into the 29th position as obviously we sit behind the car that instigated or ignited this huge crash. Keselowski, he just went and died just in front of us a few laps back, and he's faster than me now as we come through turn 3, getting into the back of him. I wasn't very happy with him because he just straight up drove right in our path, which was 100% his fault. We haven't had the best of luck this season at times, and that was certainly maybe a bit of concern for myself that later in the season this bad luck could also cost us a chance at a championship. But by the time we came to 10 to go in stage 2, we had worked our way into the top 20 now on the back bumper of the 88 car of Alex Bowman as he sits P17, not anymore, as he drops down to P18 as we take 17 from him. And Brad Keselowski also trying to follow through, as by the time we came to 2 to go in the second stage, I started thinking about long term here. I wanted to restart on the inside line, not the outside line. So I certainly was thinking maybe giving the position to Brad Keselowski because we're not getting stage points this stage. So I decided as we went into turn 3, I would let off the gas early and ride that top line to allow Keselowski to go past me. He was certainly faster than me, but I certainly was going to be able to hold him off for the rest of the stage, but I let him have the spot as we came to the white flag just so I can set myself up to get a better restart in this final stage. And at this point, you would think this is like a late playoff race with how insane this has been so far. But fortunately, we are hanging on to still a top 15 after all of this as we come down the back straightaway into turn 3 for the final time in stage 2 on the back of Keselowski. But obviously, we're going to not pass him as we come out of turn 4. We are going to come through down the front straightaway. Keselowski 12th, and I will get 13th in this second stage. So a decent comeback from what has all transpired down now, as the stage winner was Eric Jones. So a playoff point for him. I do believe he might have a playoff point or 2 already. So we would do a few more repairs to the cars, even though we don't really need any. We would come up P13, which would set me up where I wanted to be on this inside line as we get ready to start this third and final stage here in Darlington. The green flag is out, and Eric Jones in the number 20 car leads us to the green flag as he was eliminated early last season in the playoffs now as we head down into turns 1. Actually, he might not have made the playoffs if I remember correctly as we come through turns 1 and 2. Kyle Larson, our teammate, having another rough day here in Darlington as we make contact with the 2 of Keselowski getting onto the apron on the exit of turn 2, but fortunately we hang on to the car and only lose 1 position out of it as we head down into turns 3 as Kurt Busch leaves the inside open, and I'm going to take that position that we lost right back and that will allow me to lose no ground at all as we come out of turn 4 to come through to complete this first lap in this final stage. And this was one of the more lengthy final stages of the season. It's a good just about 40 laps, I believe, as we come through turns 1 and 2. Eric Jones continues to lead as we look to the inside of the 78 car of Truex Jr., now a two-time champion, as we come down the back straightaways. He did win the championship last season in our career mode as we head down in to turns 1. Johnson, Hamlin, and Keselowski 3 wide. The 48 backs out of it, and we will take the 11th position away from Jimmy Johnson, the 7-time champion, as we come out of turn 4 down the front straightaway on the inside of the 11 of Hamlin as we head down into turns 1 as we make a little bit of contact with 38 to go, and we make more contact with Hamlin on the center of the corner. And at this point, it certainly didn't feel like I really had the speed in the car that I had earlier in this race. I don't know if it's from the damage we picked up earlier and the incidents that we were part of. Maybe it had a little bit of an effect, but certainly the car just did not feel as good as it was now as we do try to get ahead of Hamlin as we kind of cut him off on the exit of turn 4 and work our way back into the top 10 as we came through to hit 37 laps to go in Darlington as Keselowski continues to climb through the field, as well as he is certainly one of the fastest cars in the field here in Darlington, even after crashing, as we get very loose on the exit of turn 2, but fortunately hang on to the car. And by the time we came to lap 65, we would work our way up to the 9th position now as we come through turns 1 and 2, trying to run down the cars ahead as we have an incident once again involving Newman, Greg Galding, and Chris Buescher, and that would once again bring out a caution here in this final stage, but this would change it up. Last season, we went green through the whole final stage, and this time we would get a caution. We would take 2 tires and unfortunately lose 8 spots, but this time it won't come down to fuel strategy. It's going to come down straight up who can play the better race here as we start this final restart, potentially, if it stays green, as we have just 24 laps to go here in Darlington. Looking to the inside of Almirola now in the number 10 car as we come through turns 1 and 2, and I think taking these right side tires could be a big factor in maybe helping me in the long run, hopefully. And really, we're just hoping to maybe get a top 10 out of this. This is certainly, other than the first stage, this has been a rough race. It's been just insane, like I said earlier. We just run into so many problems. But fortunately, we're still in the top 15, now trying to take Kurt Busch and Denny Hamlin in the 41 and the 11, 3 wide as Hamlin backed out of it and gave up the spot as we move up into P14. Now looking to the inside again of the 41 of Kurt Busch through turns 1 and 2, trying to take 13th away as we exit turn 2, making just a tiny bit of contact, but keeping the cars both straight as we come down the back straightaway, heading into turns 1 as our teammate Kyle Larson battles on the inside of the 48 car, 7-time champion Jimmy Johnson, as we also try to join in on this battle. Looking to his inside now, looking to the inside of our teammate Kyle Larson. He may be a teammate, but I'm not wasting any time right now as he doesn't have the speed right now to win any races this season, so I'm not waiting around for him as we come through turns 1 and 2, clearing him for the 11th position as we exit turn 2, closing in on the back of the 14 of Boyer and the 9 of Elliott, who battle side by side by the time we came to lap 73, battling side by side with the 9 of Elliott and the 14 of Clint Boyer through turns 1 and 2, moving into the top 10 now as we clear the 9 of Elliott on the exit of the corner, down the back straightaway, finally back in the top 10 here as we come through turns 3 and 4, looking to the inside of Clint Boyer now, trying to take the 9th position away as we exit turn 4, coming down the front straightaway. And as we come through to cross the line, it is now just 19 to go in Darlington as we once again get hit in the door by Clint Boyer through turns 1 and 2, now on the back of the 78 of Truex as we try to gain the position as we exit turn 2. Boyer, he's going to make contact with Truex as we would push him down the straightaway, and by the time we came to lap 79, still battling with these guys on the inside of Truex now, and we would pull ahead of him as he tries to fight back though on the exit of the corner. There's a car smoking on pit road as that's a car that's blown up, but we would take P7 as we come across the line and we would end up getting another caution, and that would set us up for a late race restart like we've had here in many races recently as Eric Jones continues to lead, and we would be fortunately starting 7th on the inside line, so we pass Truex just in time as we get ready to start here once again in Darlington. The green flag is back out. It is just 10 laps to go here in Darlington as we have a chance to maybe pull off a really good finish now that we got this yellow flag. And as we head down into turns 1 on the inside of the 24, William Byron had a good start to the season, but not a great start as of late. As we make a little bit of contact on the exit of turn 2, we get really loose, and we go down towards the inside wall, and we hang on to the cars. We are sliding all over the place as we make a huge save as we go down into turn 3. Easily one of the biggest saves I have made in this game, as we were all over the place, and thank goodness we held on to the car. I was just turning the wheel 90 degrees in each direction, hanging on for dear life. That would obviously completely destroy our chances of finishing in the top 5 like I was hoping that we were going to have a chance at, as this just crazy race continues for myself as we come down the back straightaway. It's certainly not gone even close to the way Darlington did for myself last season. By the time we came to just 2.5 laps to go, I would work my way back up to P11 in front of Stenhouse, but it was a little too late for anything to happen. At this point, I was losing speed as Stenhouse looks to my inside down the front straightaway as we cross the line to hit 2 laps to go now in Darlington as we head down into turns 1, and I decided not even to fight him at that moment as we go through turns 1, though he does leave the inside open, so I decided, you know what, we might as well go for it as we come through turns 2, as he's going to clear me as we get loose once again on the exit of turn 2 down the back straightaway. Stenhouse would be able to start to stretch that gap out now as we go down into turns 3, and we finished second place for, I think, 3 of the last 5 races, with a win, and 5th, I believe, in the last episode in Bristol. And now we come to Darlington, and we're not even running in the top 10 as we come through turns 1 and 2 for the final time, as the white flag is in the air as we briefly just barely get into the wall, but it doesn't really matter at this point as we come out of turn 2 down the back straightaway for the final time in Darlington. As now we go down into turns 3, Elliott and Truex battle side by side, and Stenhouse, he's looking to the inside of the 7-time champ, Jimmy Johnson, as we come out of turn 4. A very disappointing day after an insane race in Darlington. We will finish in the 12th position as we just had so many issues presented to us throughout this race, and it was really, to me, I wasn't even very disappointed because we still pulled off a 12th place finish out of all that. After it was just crazy the whole time after so many incidents for myself. Ty Dillon dead last, 49 laps down for him, and Joey Logano, his first win on the season now after winning tonight in Darlington, so good for him. Get himself some playoff points as he's certainly going to need them, as he sits 10th in the regular season standings, tied with 9th place of Jimmy Johnson now, as he has 8 playoff points. As we look into Indianapolis in the next episode, 1 race remains in the regular season, as Elliott and Jones are likely going to hang on to the last 2 playoff positions unless someone outside of the playoffs gets a win in Indianapolis, which is pretty unlikely. Almirola not very happy with me, but we're going to apologize to him anyways. And just 2 races remain now in the Xfinity series before the playoffs start. But like I said, 1 race left in the regular season for the Cup Series, and we will go to Indianapolis in the next episode to decide your 16 drivers that will be in the playoffs. As you see the point standings on your screen right here, Harvick and Truex both tied when it comes to playoff points. We're going to get a good chunk of playoff points after next episode because we're going to have, I believe, 3rd in the regular season. Now, as Blaney is 64 points out, he's going to have to win his way in. So if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Those would all be very appreciated. Thank you for taking the time out of you guys' day to watch one of my videos, and I will see you guys in the next one in Indy as we decide the 16 drivers in the playoffs. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have a great day.